Hello everybody, my name is Braden, this is Airless Quill 9, and this is a video that I planned on doing quite a while ago. Honestly, I just never finished the slides for it and never got around to recording it, but I want to go ahead and get this one out of the way. This is my homebrew workshop video on how to create spells for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. So I'm going to go through the actual rules presented on creating a spell in the 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide, give you the rules for how to do it, and I'm also going to give you an example of a spell that I created with these rules, just to give you an idea on how to apply these for your own personal use. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight to it. So we need to think about what to consider when we're creating a spell. So when we create a new spell, we use existing ones as examples, and this is really just to help us create a balance to just using these spells in our games, because we need to consider a number of things when we are creating a new spell. First off, the spell needs a unique name, which is a go figure, but balance is very important, because if the spell is so good that a caster wants to use it all the time, then it's probably too powerful for the level that you're wanting to place it at. So you really need to balance the effectiveness of the spell with the level that you want to create it for. Next, the spell needs an identity, so we need to make sure that the spell fits the identity of those who can cast it. For example, wizards and sorcerers don't typically cast healing spells, so it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense for there to be a healing spell that they can use. Also, we need to consider spell duration, range, and area. A longer duration, a greater range, or a larger area can make up for a lesser effect depending on the spell that we create. And the last step that we need to consider is utility. We want to avoid spells that have a very limited use, such as ones that work only against specific creature types, such as oozes or undead or something of that nature, because few characters are going to ever bother learning or preparing such a spell since it has such a niche use. So we want the utility of the spell to not be limited in that way. Next, we need to look at some rules on how to create damaging spells. So you can create utility spells just willy-nilly and bounce them based off of other utility spells that are in the game, but we need to talk about damaging spells real quick. So for any spell that deals damage, there is a spell damage table in the 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide that teaches you how to determine approximately how much damage is appropriate given the spell's level. So you can see there's a nifty little table that lists the amount or the average damage that a spell of a certain level should deal. So this table assumes that the spell deals half as much damage on a successful saving throw or a missed attack to help balance it, so keep that in mind. If your spell doesn't deal damage on a successful save, you can increase the damage of that particular spell by 25% to counteract that. You can also use different damage dice than the ones presented in this table, as long as the average is about the same. So for example, you could change a cantrip's damage from 1d10, which has an average of 5.5 damage, to 2d4 average, which averages out to 5. So we just reduce the maximum damage and make an average result more likely by changing the dice for a specific spell. So this little table is to help us determine what or amount of damage a spell of a particular level should deal. The same goes for creating healing spells. So you actually can use the exact same spell damage table to help determine how many hit points a healing spell restores. The general rule here, though, is that a cantrip shouldn't provide any healing, so it is considered unbalanced to create a cantrip that heals. I don't know if it would be imbalanced to create a cantrip that provides temporary hit points, but I imagine the same would apply, since temporary hit points are basically healing without actually healing the hit points that you have sustained. So you can also use this spell damage table for healing, and I have edited it as such to help imagine that. So here's an actual example of a homebrew spell that I created for my games. This is Elemental Boon. It's a level 1 transmutation spell available to rangers. It has a casting time of a bonus action, a range of self. It has verbal and somatic components. It has a duration of 1 minute. So this particular spell makes you choose one of the following damage types: acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder. And until the spell ends, your attacks with weapons deal an extra 1d4 damage of the chosen type on a hit. This spell is identical in design to the Divine Favor spell that paladins get as a level 1 spell. So this is pretty much a 1-for-1 dressing of Divine Favor, but flavored for rangers, since rangers don't really have a whole lot they can do with their spell slots that helps with damage. I thought this would be a pretty useful addition to their arsenal. So I created this particular spell for my players who want to play rangers to use. So I think they'll really get a whole lot of fun out of that particularly. And that's really all the help that I have for creating spells. It just takes some pre-thought. You want to consider how the spell that you want to create would compare to other spells of that particular level that you are trying to create a spell for. And then you want to balance it out against similar spells so that it is balanced for your particular games. And these are really just guidelines to help you proceed towards that particular design aspect. So I hope this video was useful to you if you're trying to design spells in your own way. Let me know if it was not in the comments so I can create a different video that might provide some more insight. But if you did enjoy this video, please feel free to give it a like and subscribe for more content like this. I appreciate your guys' support, and I'll catch you all in the next video. See you later.